We need to talk about the other high-profile case, Cassandra Leong, whom you're also representing. Actually, how did you come to be Cassandra Ong's representative?
Well,
you never told the story.
Yeah, I was approached by some people who that will have to remain
Give us
under
the initial.
lawyer-client privilege. But it shouldn't matter, really, in the grand scheme of things. Who approached
From what year? From what year?
Just
This year.
Recently.
This year,
Okay.
because when she was being deported, she
say
didn't
stuff.
have a lawyer yet,
Yeah,
right?
and she did mention in the Quadcom hearing that she messaged you and she
Yeah.
picked you because matapang daw po kayo.
Akala lang niya siguro yun. Takot ako sa asawa ko eh.
So, first of all, how is Cassandra? She was hospitalized. We believe, is she okay now?
Yes, she has been discharged as of this afternoon. But when I was visiting her at her place of confinement, a medical confinement, I saw that she was having a breakdown. She would cry every time she would see me, or she would remember the abuses that were done to her by the House Quadcom. Especially the bamboozling, the browbeating, etc. That is why I think she had a breakdown in the middle of the hearings, and her blood pressure plummeted to 80/40. And according to the House Medical Director, her blood sugar was so low it could not even be read by the what they use.
She also said, Atty, in that hearing, which I watched all of, she said she would rather face the cases in court. Okay, now she faces being cited in contempt for the how manyth time by the Quadcom. How will this play out? Can she actually just stay silent and wait to hash it out in court?
Of course, because that is a right granted to her by the Constitution. Every person being investigated for the commission of an offense has the right to remain silent, the right against self-incrimination, the right to counsel. And unfortunately, it is these very rights that are being violated by the Quadcom and most possibly by some members of the Senate, because the attitude is that these committees are acting less and less like legislative panels and more like prosecutors, which should not be the case.
Go ahead, Rich.
Latest cases to be filed against her: qualified human trafficking, money laundering, I believe.
Yes, that was a few days ago, the money laundering charges.
And you saw reports a while ago
Yes,
that
yes.
Senator Jingo Estrada was saying that there is a boss of all Pogo, boss of all
As he
Pogos.
said, he heard, so it's hearsay.
And that means if you take a look at the line, then your client is not the top honcho. Is there possibility that she might be willing to be a state witness?
I have no knowledge of that at the moment. What we are doing is protecting her rights, because that is exactly the reason why I'm saying that our legislators are acting more and more like investigators and less like lawmakers, because it is not the job of the Senate nor the House of Representatives to be investigating whether or not a person is guilty or not of a crime. The Supreme Court said as much in Neri versus Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, in the latest case, Ong versus Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, which I successfully argued before the Supreme Court, and which came out last year.
But
Attorney,
hold on. I have to take exception to your use of the words bamboozled and browbeaten, because the question at the root of this all is, why couldn't she just have answered the question straight up? See, this is your defense, and I understand this, is you're trying to portray her as, a young woman, helpless, hapless, who's just a sort of victim in all of this. But the documents prove otherwise, attorney.
So?
There's at least 3 documents showing that she was involved.
Well, you seem
so why doesn't she just...
There seems to be a misconception on your part as to what rights are. A person being questioned for the commission of an offense does not have to answer. It's in the Constitution. You are meaning what you want us to do is to waive her constitutional rights? That is not correct.
Ganito na lang, attorney. What I want to know, I understand it's very tricky, and she does have her rights, right? But what I want to know is, will she go back to that Quadcom hearing, because now she's cited in contempt? Does that mean she has no choice but to appear once she is well, once the medical stuff has been cleared? Does she have to appear, and how will that be, right? Because now the Senate wants to borrow her also as a resource speaker for their hearing. Do we just expect that this will go on? They'll be evasive because lawmakers also don't want to let her go, right? And they will put her on the hot seat.
She has no choice. She will be brought there. But we have already written both chambers of the legislature that she is exercising her right to remain silent. Everyone should know that the right to remain silent is in the Constitution again. That is why I'm saying they are exerting pressure on her. If you don't agree that she is being bamboozled or browbeaten, maybe you should watch the proceedings again.
I did.
Yes.
And I mean, it's a very quick answer, right? Even basic questions like where she went to school, she wouldn't even answer. That's
Because
very
that is
basic.
a right. The right to remain silent is
But the
absolute.
Senate and the lower house also has a right to investigate these issues.
In aid of legislation. Is
Correct.
there any legislation
In
here?
aid-
I'm asking. Can you see that the legislators are even insinuating improper relations between her and her godfather? Is that not bamboozling?
I don't
You
wanna-
should watch the.
I did for the whole 9 yards. We did.
Well,
It's
and
part
if
of
you
our
don't
job.
see anything wrong with that, then there's something wrong with you.
I don't want to get into arguments of the legalities with you, but why is she refusing an executive session at this point?
Because when they asked for an executive session, they were excluding counsel. And according to the own rules of the House, in every step of the proceedings, there is a right to counsel. So, what kind of a trick is that? You saw how they isolated me from my client. They were physically barring me from talking to my client. That is highly improper. That is foul. They were even bad-mouthing me, using the bully pulpit of the House to insinuate that I'm giving bad advice. If you undermine your client's faith in your counsel, you are
Attorney-
also violating the right to counsel.